Football clubs are more than businesses. They are identity. They are history. They are community. But what happens when the person who owns that club becomes its biggest threat? In the United Kingdom, a growing concern is emerging around what many are calling rogue owners. Not criminals in the traditional sense, but individuals with the power to quietly destroy a club from the inside. These are owners who make reckless financial decisions, pile on debt, mismanage operations, or treat clubs as personal assets rather than community institutions. And the most dangerous part? They can do it slowly, silently, legally. A club doesn't collapse overnight. It erodes. Missed payments, unpaid staff, poor recruitment decisions, mounting financial pressure. At first, fans notice small cracks. A transfer that doesn't make sense. A manager suddenly leaving. Rumors of financial trouble. But by the time the truth becomes clear, it's often too late, because under current systems, intervention is slow. Authorities react after damage is done, not before. And in that gap between warning signs and action, clubs suffer. Communities suffer. Fans who have supported their teams for generations are left powerless, watching, waiting, hoping someone steps in. But no one does. Not fast enough. This is the hidden crime in modern football governance. Not a single illegal act, but a system that allows damage to happen in plain sight. Because ownership in football comes with immense power. Power over finances, power over decisions, power over the future of an entire institution. And when that power is placed in the wrong hands, the consequences ripple far beyond the pitch. This isn't just about money. It's about identity, about what happens when something people love is controlled by someone who doesn't share that same connection. And now questions are being asked. How many clubs have already been pushed to the edge? How many warning signs were ignored? And how long can this system continue before more clubs collapse? When a football club begins to fail, the damage doesn't stay contained within boardrooms or financial reports. It spreads, quietly at first, then all at once. Fans are usually the first to feel it, not through official announcements, but through instinct. Something feels off. A season that doesn't make sense. A team that looks disconnected. Decisions that don't align with a club's identity. Then the signs become harder to ignore. Delayed wages, transfer bans, points deductions. And suddenly, the problem isn't just performance. It's survival. For many supporters, football isn't entertainment. It's routine. It's belonging. It's generational. Fathers pass it to sons. Communities gather around it. Cities define themselves through it. So when a club begins to collapse, it feels personal. Businesses around stadiums suffer. Local economies take a hit. Match days lose their energy. The ripple effect extends beyond fans. Players find themselves in unstable environments. Contracts become uncertain. Careers stall. Confidence drops. Staff, often the invisible backbone of clubs, face job insecurity. Physios, coaches, administrative workers, all affected by decisions made far above them. And yet, through all of this, the people responsible often remain in control. That's the imbalance. Power at the top, consequences at the bottom. This is why groups like Fair Game are raising alarms. Because this isn't about one club. It's about a pattern. A system where the wrong owner can trigger a chain reaction. One that affects thousands of lives. And the most painful part? Fans can see it happening. They protest. They demand change. They raise awareness. But without real authority to act. Their voices often go unheard until the damage is already done. For years, concerns about football ownership in the United Kingdom were whispered more than they were addressed. Fans noticed patterns. Journalists raised questions. Clubs showed warning signs. But action? Slow, fragmented, reactive. That's where the investigation begins. Not with a single case, but with a growing realization that the system itself might be failing. Organizations like Fair Game started pushing for answers. Why were struggling owners allowed to remain in control? Why did intervention only happen after financial damage became irreversible? And most importantly, who was actually responsible for protecting clubs? Current regulations rely heavily on ownership checks at the entry point, a test of suitability, a review of finances. But once an owner is in, oversight weakens, monitoring becomes inconsistent, enforcement becomes slow, and accountability becomes unclear. That's the gap. And it's within that gap that problems grow. Investigations into struggling clubs began to reveal patterns. Financial mismanagement going unchecked. Decisions made without transparency. Warning signs ignored until crisis points. In some cases, by the time authorities stepped in, the damage had already been done. Debts had accumulated. Assets had been stripped. Clubs were left fighting for survival. This isn't just poor decision-making. It's structural vulnerability, a system that lacks the speed and authority to act before collapse begins. That's why the push for change is gaining momentum, because investigators, analysts, and advocacy groups are all pointing to the same conclusion. Football governance is too slow for modern risk. And in a system driven by money, influence, and global investment, slow response equals real damage. The investigation doesn't just expose individual failures. It exposes a system that allows those failures to happen repeatedly, quietly, predictably, until they become impossible to ignore. Eventually, pressure builds to a point where the system can't ignore it anymore. Public scrutiny increases. Media attention grows. Fans demand answers. And that's when the conversation shifts from awareness to action. In the United Kingdom, the proposed solution is clear. An independent football regulator, not tied to existing structures, not slowed by internal conflicts, but designed specifically to act, and act fast. The goal? To give authorities the power they've been missing, the power to intervene early, the power to enforce accountability, and most critically, the power to remove rogue owners before irreversible damage is done. This is a major shift. Because, until now, ownership has come with long leashes. Once control is established, removing it becomes complicated, legally, financially, and politically. But this proposal challenges that balance. It suggests that club protection should come before owner protection, that the identity, history, and community tied to a club matter more than individual control. Groups like Fair Game are pushing hard for this change, because they've seen what happens without it. Clubs collapsing, fans losing everything, communities left behind. And they argue that faster intervention isn't just beneficial, it's necessary. But not everyone agrees. Because with greater regulation comes greater control. Questions emerge. Who decides when an owner crosses the line? How much power should regulators have? And where is the balance between oversight and ownership rights? This is the moment of consequence, where a broken system is forced to evolve, where power is questioned, and where the future of football governance hangs in the balance. At its core, this story isn't just about ownership. It's about trust. The trust that when fans walk into a stadium, the club they love is being protected, not exploited, not slowly pushed toward collapse, but guided with responsibility. The proposed regulator in the United Kingdom represents something bigger than policy. It represents a shift in philosophy, from reactive to preventive, from protecting owners to protecting clubs. But the end game is still uncertain, because regulation alone doesn't solve everything. Football is a global business. Money flows across borders. Ownership structures are complex. Influence is powerful. Even the strongest systems have limits. So the real question becomes, can regulation keep up? Can it act fast enough to stop damage before it spreads? Or will it always be one step behind, responding to crises instead of preventing them? For fans, the stakes couldn't be higher. Because when a club fails, it's not just a business that disappears. It's history, identity, belonging. Entire communities lose something that can't be replaced. That's why this moment matters. Because for the first time, The system is being forced to confront a hard truth. Ownership without accountability is risk. And if that risk isn't controlled, the consequences will continue again and again until something fundamental changes. So the final question isn't just about regulation. It's about the future of football itself. Who really protects the game?